So, I just got to see Horizon, an American Saga Part 1. One of my more anticipated movies of the year. This is a movie I was genuinely excited for because I thought the trailer for it looked incredible. It looked like a giant epic western, a film that I have been waiting for. Not this film in general, but just I've been waiting for the western genre to return and for somebody to make a big epic adventure in that genre with modern technology, because we haven't really gotten it lately. The most Western thing that we've gotten in the last 15 years that was great was like Django Unchained, which is very much a Quentin Tarantino Western. I'm looking for something that's epic and beautiful, and the first trailer for this kind of sold that idea. This film was directed by Kevin Costner, and of course he also stars in the film, and what it is a part 1 to what is planned to be a 4-film saga of movies. The first 2 films I've already filmed, the second one I believe comes out in August, and this one is pretty much the prologue of what this whole story is going to be, and it's 3 hours long. It's a 3-hour Part 1. And the film has a very large cast, and I'm not going to go through because it'll take forever, but there's a bunch of people in this movie, and essentially what this movie is a bunch of different stories that take place throughout the American West, throughout the horizon of the West, and we're kind of seeing the birth of what is the Wild West. We're seeing the birth of it, and this conflict between the people trying to settle out there and the Native Americans that live out there, and there's other conflicts going on as well, with gangs and a bunch. There are so many story threads going on in this movie, it is legitimately impossible to follow or coherently understand any of them. And that's my problem with this movie. This movie has so much going on that somehow it feels like there's nothing going on, and it ends up being one of the most boring movies you will sit through. So let me get into it. The first thing that I'll say about Horizon that is amazing, the best part about this entire movie, is the score. The score in this movie is absolutely stunning. It is beautiful from start to finish. There are so many different variants of different songs, and it feels exactly what you want if you watch that trailer. It's this big, epic, beautiful Western adventure theme, and it's great. I loved it. Also good about this movie, the first 35 minutes. The first 35 minutes, I was watching this film thinking, how is this movie only at like 30% on Rotten Tomatoes? Because this opening is a freaking banger. It has one of the best first acts I have seen in a Western ever. It is an amazing first act that depicts this camp of Horizon settlers, these people that are settling in this area, staying in this small town, as they are attacked by these Native Americans. And it is a big, suspenseful sequence that just has violence and death and emotional points. I shed a Joe Marchione tear during this sequence. It was so amazingly done, and I thought, my God, I think the critics might have this one wrong, because that first act was just so good, and it focused on really one story. It didn't try to expand the story too much. It's just a very simple story, these people trying to survive, this family trying to survive, and it was great. But then the movie decides to tail off into all these other stories. You follow Kevin Costner as he's trying to protect this girl and this child who are being hunted down by this gang. You follow this other group of people who are going to settle in the horizon. There's just so many different kind of spanning stories here, and they try to spend enough time with all of them to feel like you're investing with the characters, and sometimes it works. Like, I think Kevin Costner doing his Kevin Costner thing, and that story at first is interesting, but throughout the film, it just kind of develops without showing anything. Like, there's moments where their characters will be in one position. Kevin Costner and the girl will be in one position talking about one thing. It'll skip and go do something else for 45 minutes. It'll jump back to Kevin Costner's story. And off screen, there's been a lot of developments. There's been a lot of changes that we just didn't see, and the movie just expects you to know that these changes happened. And little things like that just make no sense to me, and it makes the movie just so much harder to follow, and I just didn't care to follow it because the movie is boring. There's a weird love story in this movie with Sam Worthington that is not fully developed, because yet again, it is a part 1. This film was definitely a setup for what I expect will be bigger movies in the future, but the love story and what's going on there is just never interesting. Michael Rooker's in this movie playing an Irish dude. I still don't understand his character. This film thinks that it builds up into like this big action-y finale, this finale that has a lot of themes in it, a lot of heavy, meaningful themes about revenge and what it means to actually seek revenge. And I just don't think any of it lands. And then, mind-bendingly enough, it ends on this weird sequence that I think is just kind of like a slideshow of what the second movie's gonna be. It's just a very long trailer, but it never tells you that it is a trailer. It never tells you this is a look forward, so you feel like you're just watching this weird slideshow where these characters are developing and going places and doing things, and you're like, what am I watching right now? It is one of the more bizarre things I've ever seen in a movie theater. I think the whole storyline with Luke Wilson and Jesus from The Walking Dead is just empty. There's just nothing there that I found to be entertaining whatsoever. Anytime it was on that story, I was completely clocked out. And overall, this is a movie that I wanted to love it. I really, really did. I love Kevin Costner. I love this idea of this epic Western saga of movies. I think it's so cool. I think the first trailer was great, But this is a 3-hour movie that could have been cut down to about an hour and 20 minutes, and it would have been great. It would have been fine. We would have had part 2. Instead, we have this 3-hour film that is just kind of a 3-hour mess. It's visually not impressive at all. The way that they shoot these beautiful landscapes, somehow these landscapes are not beautiful with the way they're shot. I think the acting in this film and the dialogue has a lot to be improved upon. I think the actual story arcs these characters are going on are just not that interesting. They've been done to death in Hollywood. I think the film doesn't feel cool like Westerns should feel. There's nothing cool about this film. The bad guys are predictably bad. The good guys are predictably good. The conflict between the Native Americans and the people is very much predictable, and I have a pretty good idea of where it's going just based on history and how these movies typically go. I'm just really upset about this one. I'm not looking forward to sitting through the second one now, and that's a shame because this is something I was genuinely excited for, and it's a film that now I think is one of the worst of the year. But that opening 35 minutes is good enough that I won't give it a 1 out of 5. That opening 35 minutes is so perfect. It's one of the best 35 minutes of film all year. If the whole movie was just that, this would be a 5 out of 5. It's brilliant. And because of that, I'm going to give Horizon and American Saga Part 1 a 2 out of 5. I don't know, go see it, make up your own opinion. This is a movie that I just think most people are going to be bored at and just not have fun at all. Maybe the oldies, the people that love Kevin Costner, that love Yellowstone, because I love Yellowstone. Yellowstone's like one of my favorite shows. I enjoy the hell out of it, and I think people are going to get tricked into thinking this is like more Yellowstone. It's not. This is nothing like Yellowstone. It doesn't have any of the engaging characters or the fun melodrama that show has. This is just boring garbage in a way, and I hate to use that word, but that's just what I thought of this film. If you think I'm wrong, let me know. Tell me I'm an idiot. Tell me I'm a fool. You fool! It's a great movie, Joe. Go ahead, let me know. Feel free. I'll talk. We can all talk about it. Thanks for watching, though. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more. I post every single day, so turn on notifications. See you guys in the next one.